In the opening, Clint Barton is showing his little girl toxophilism on his separated ranch while his significant other readies an outing lunch for them. Out of nowhere, Clint's little girl disappears and the remainder of Clint's family deteriorates, alongside half of all life across the universe, the consequence of Thanos snapping his fingers in the wake of obtaining every one of the 6 Endlessness Stones. Cloud and Tony Distinct are abandoned in space following their loss by Thanos on Titan, yet are gotten back to Earth via him Danvers and rejoined with Natasha Romanoff, Bruce Pennant, Steve Rogers, Rocket, Thor, and James Rhodes. The group figures out how to take the Limitlessness Stones back from Thanos and use them to switch his activities, yet learn after finding him that he had utilized the stones a second opportunity to obliterate them, forestalling their further use. He lets the excess Vindicators know that he did as such to try not to involve the stones for additional terrible purposes. Angered, Thor decapitates Thanos, saying it's what he ought to have done in Wakanda. After 5 years, Scott Lang escapes from the quantum domain to find that his little girl Cassie is currently a teen and that Trust Van Dyne, alongside half of the populace, has vanished in the snap. Rogers has been driving despondency guiding meetings for survivors actually battling with the impacts of the snap, while Romanoff is indefatigably overseeing both Earth and the remainder of the universe with the assistance of Rhodes, Danvers, Okoye, Rocket, and Cloud. Lang goes to Romanoff and Rogers, and makes sense of that while 5 years had passed for them, just 5 hours had passed for him in the quantum domain and that time extends much contrastingly there. The three go to Distinct, who is presently bringing up a kid with Pepper Potts, and make sense of their hypothesis that the quantum domain can be utilized to travel once more into the past and take the Vastness Stones before Thanos can gather them. Distinct at first oddballs their proposition with worry about gambling with his family and the harmony he has found, however subsequent to reflecting upon the deficiency of Peter Parker chooses to test hypothetical models that would work with Lang's quantum burrow, in the long run tracking down one that works. With unmistakable now ready the leftover Justice fighters set off to reassemble their group. Bruce Flagg has now embraced the mass as a piece of him, and has merged his own cognizance and the mass together into one. Romanoff, subsequent to hearing reports from Rhodes of a professional killer that works with comparative techniques to Barton, passes on to track down him. Barton, consumed with misery after the deficiency of his family, has been working under the mantle Ronin while severely slaughtering criminal cartels and packs all over the planet to attempt to work on the world that is still left. Natasha tracks down him in Japan and after some persuading, he consents to rejoin the group to attempt to bring his family back. Pennant and Rocket go to the modest community of New Asgard, where Valkyrie and the last overcomers of Asgard have settled. They there find Thor, who has become overpowered by culpability over neglecting to kill Thanos in Wakanda. Thor has become overweight, his hair and facial hair are congested, and he invests his free energy eating low-quality food, becoming inebriated, and playing Fortnite with his companions Korg and Miek. Thor hesitantly consents to get back to the Vindicators after some persuading from Rocket and Pennant. In the wake of testing the quantum time machine on Barton, who affirms that it works, the Justice fighters are brought together with an arrangement. Flagg, Rogers, Lang, and Distinct set out to recover the time, brain, and space stones during the Clash of New York in 2012. Pennant goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where he is educated by the antiquated one that requiring some investment stone from her timetable would forestall Stephen Unusual's future endeavors to prevent Caecilius from annihilating the laws of nature. Notwithstanding, when Pennant tells her that Weird surrendered the time stone eagerly to Thanos, she permits Flagg to make them suggest, Peculiar had expected for a particular grouping of occasions to happen for Thanos to be crushed. Pennant additionally guarantees the stones' revisitation of their legitimate courses of events to forestall any evil impacts. Lang and Obvious endeavor to take the Space Stone after the Vindicator seize it from Loki. Lang gives Distinct's previous self a gentle heart failure by pulling a circuit in his fake heart, while Obvious takes the portfolio lodging the Tesseract when no one is looking. Their arrangement is ruined when Unmistakable drops the portfolio after he is unintentionally hit by the mass. Loki then takes the Space Stone and uses it to get away from authority. Rogers prevails with regards to taking the Brain Stone from secret Hydra specialists, yet finds his previous self, who botches him for a hidden Loki. In the wake of overcoming past Steve, Rogers gets back together with Obvious and Lang, who presently should sort out one more method for getting the Space Stone without running out of the restricted stock of PIM particles that permit them to go through the quantum domain. Lang gets back to the present with the Psyche Stone while Rogers and Obvious devise an arrangement to take the Space Stone from a U.S. Armed Force establishment during the 1970s, while additionally taking further vials of PIM particles to make the excursion back home. While there, Rogers sights Peggy Carter and Unmistakable has a significant discussion with his dad Howard. Rocket and Thor travel to Asgard to recover the Truth Stone before Malekith utilizes it against the 9 domains. While in Asgard, Thor is reminded that his mom, Frigga, would kick the bucket soon and gets an opportunity experience with her while Rocket takes the ether, the disintegrated rendition of the Truth Stone, from Jane and Courage. The two revisitation of Earth after Frigga guides Thor and he recovers his Sledgemjolnir, thrilled to find that he is as yet deserving of it. Cloud and Rhodes travel to Morag to take the Power Stone before Peter Plume does. As Rhodes gets back to the present with the Power Stone, Cloud breakdowns and stays on Morag. With two consciousnesses working on Cloud's frameworks, Thanos and Blackthroat find the presence of future Cloud and go to hijack her. Cloud acknowledges what has occurred and attempts to caution the others, yet is past the point of no return. Thanos examines her recollections and finds the Vindicators arrangement, and sends the more faithful past Cloud back to the present as a government operative. Barton and Romanoff travel to Vormir to recover the Spirit Stone, however are clashed when Red Skull, manager of the stone, illuminates them that it must be recovered by forfeiting somebody they love. The two battle about which will make the penance, with Romanoff at last accepting all negative consequences, while the distressed Barton gets back to Earth with the Spirit Stone. After everybody has gotten back to the present on the planet, Obvious, Rocket, and Standard set off on a mission to create a glove to use the stones, one built from the equivalent nanotech of Unmistakable's most recent Iron Man suit. Pennant volunteers himself to employ the glove and bring back everybody that vanished in Thanos' snap, thinking that he can endure both the gamma radiation and the colossal aggravation and injury welcomed on by utilizing the stones. He succeeds, however they are very quickly gone after by Thanos, who has been brought to Earth by the Faker Cloud, obliterating the quantum entrance all the while. Thanos lessens the Justice Fighters' base camp to rubble, separating the group and making the glove fall into Barton's security. The previous Cloud is killed by her future self as she endeavors to take the Endlessness Stones from Barton, while Rogers, Thor, and Unmistakable stand up to Thanos, who concludes he will rather utilize the Boundlessness Stones to annihilate the universe and make one in his vision. The three battle Thanos one-on-one, with Rogers affirming Thor's hypothesis that he truly deserved using Mjolnir, yet are each dominated by Thanos. Not long after Thanos' military terrains on the planet, T'Challa shows up before Rogers, alongside the Vindicators in general and different partners resuscitated by Pennant, prior to sending off an attack on Thanos and his military. After an extensive fight during which Obvious is brought together with Parker and Plume is brought together with past Gamora, Thanos grapples with various Vindicators for the Boundlessness Stones. At the point when he's limited by Wanda Maximoff's energy, Thanos orders Glaive to have his boat fire various energy impacts, almost obliterating the Vindicators' endeavors. Skipper Wanda returns, taking out Thanos' boat while battling for control of the glove. Utilizing the nanotech from the new glove, Unmistakable moves the Limitlessness Stones from Thanos' hand to his own and utilizes them to transform Thanos and his whole armed force into debris, victoriously expressing "I'm Iron Man." Parker and Potts console distinct as he kicks the bucket from openness to the stone's radiation. Following the fight, the Vindicators hold a burial service for Unmistakable, whose imprint circular segment reactor is drifted out on the lake close to his home. Barton and Wanda Maximoff take comfort in the way that Romanoff and Vision, who didn't return in the snap, would be pleased with their triumph over Thanos. Thor makes Valkyrie the sovereign of Asgard and joins the Watchmen of the cosmic system to track down his actual reason, liberated from the weight of eminence and administration without precedent for his life. Barton gets back to his family and Parker gets back to school, where he is brought together with his closest companion Ned. In the meantime, Rogers is entrusted to go into the past to return the stones and Thor's mallet to their unique courses of events, however chooses not to get back to the present and to rather carry on with the remainder of his life in the past with Carter. He returns before Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes as an elderly person, and passes his safeguard and the mantle of Skipper America onto Wilson. A short flashback shows Rogers and Carter in a customary-looking house, at long last sharing the dance they never got to have in their parlor, genuinely blissful finally.